Welcome everyone to another edition of AEW Dark. Fresh from his loss against Joey Janela, Kip Sabian will take on Marco Stunt. Sadie Gibbs is also in action against B. Priestley. We'll see some tag team action in SCU. Christopher Daniels teaming up with Frankie Kazarian to take on the Best Friends. And also Darby Allin in action in tonight's main event against Jimmy Havoc. So fresh from his loss this past week on AEW Dynamite in the TNT Championship Tournament against Joey Janela, Kip Sabian's downfall continues as he picks up yet another L against Marco Stunt this time. 1/3 of the Jurassic Express. Marco Stunt picking up the win due to a fast roll-up within 7 minutes 23. There's just something about Marco Stunt. Could probably see him with the TNT Championship around his waist at some point in the future. He could be like AEW's version of Rey Mysterio, being the biggest small guy, being that underdog. So it's not looking good for Kip Sabian at the moment, but it's certainly looking really good for Marco Stunt. What a win. Could be a bit of a platform for him now to shoot into the match card for a Dynamite in the near future. But it got a 33 rating, few negatives amongst or within the report. The crowd were turned off by having a match outside of the pre-show between workers they didn't have any investment in. Could be something to work on in the future. But anyway, we go backstage then with Alicia too, still working on that interview gimmick. She goes on to say, with me at this time, Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. Guys, to close last week's episode of Dynamite, we saw you offer a match at All Out to Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle. They accepted. Your thoughts? And Matt Jackson answers, it's only natural really. This thing between the Elite and Inner Circle has been brewing for some time. They decided to stick their nose in our match against Private Party, who are 2-0 up against us now, I might add. So I felt the only way to settle this was a good old-fashioned tag team wrestling match at All Out. And Nick Jackson finishes things up by saying, yeah, this thing between the Elite and the Inner Circle is far from over. This is almost like the start. Everyone else is off doing their own thing at the moment, but we're not through with them. We haven't forgot what they've done to us in the past. We will beat them at All Out, and with that momentum we will go on to beat the Inner Circle once and for all. Well, thanks Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. I felt as though we had to bring in a bit of star power for Dark this week. I want to beat the last couple of shows due to ratings haven't been the best. Last week's was quite poor, so I thought we'll bring in Nick and Matt Jackson. As I've already said, I want to try and move Dark to like a proper second show, maybe having titles defended on it instead of it just being match after match, and we could use it as an opportunity to advance some storylines as well. Moving into the next match then between B. Priestley and Sadie Gibbs. It was B. Priestley that picks up the win in 6:56 by submission. Amy Dumar again not doing the best as a road agent for the women's division, which is really such a shame to see, because I thought she would have been a great signing, someone to come in, work behind the scenes, help elevate the division, which desperately needs it, and it got 16. Moving on anyway to the next segment, it's a highlight video of the TNT tournament so far, which is shown and finishes with the updated brackets and what to expect on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite in the semi-finals. Jeff Cobb versus Pac, Lance Archer versus Joey Janela. Who is going to the finals? Who is going to All Out? Then we move into our next match between SCU and the Best Friends. Notes that Christopher Daniels is in the tag team this time alongside Kazarian instead of Scorpio Sky. And it was SCU coming out on top with the win against the Best Friends within 13 minutes 28 after Kazarian pinned Chuck Taylor with a wave of the future. And this match got the crowd buzzing, getting a rating of 57, so really happy with that. Upping that quality of match, bringing in a bit of star power as well for Dark, hoping to lift that overall rating of the show as well. So SCU continuing their winning ways at the moment. It doesn't matter who teams up, whether it's Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, or Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. They're doing really well at the moment. In the next segment, earlier in the day, Darby Allin is seen skating into the arena for AEW Dark when out of nowhere, swooping down in front of him is Vanguard 1. There is a hologram of broken Matt Hardy which says, Darby of the Allen, bring your board of wheels this week to Dynamite, as I have an answer for your proposition. Yes. And Vanguard 1 zooms away. Darby shakes his head and continues to skate into the arena. So we saw last week Darby Allin issuing a challenge to Matt Hardy after Matt Hardy did defeat him in that broken Matt Hardy challenge back on the first episode, or the second episode of AEW Dynamite. And this is a decent segment, getting a 62. Darby and Matt Hardy benefit from that groundswell of public support, and then we move into the main event between Darby Allin and Jimmy Havoc. Again, this one getting another 62 rating, and it was Darby Allin defeating Jimmy Havoc within 11 minutes 01 by pinfall with a coffin drop. I felt after he lost to Matt Hardy on the second episode of Dynamite, he needed to pick up a win, to get back to winning ways, get back on track, and this was the perfect match really against Jimmy Havoc. But Havoc didn't seem too pleased with the result, as after the match you can just imagine him pushing staff members out of the way that are around ringside. So let's finish the show. That is much better, the overall rating of 52, especially when you compare it to the last couple of episodes, getting between 30 to about 40. So we're improving, we're getting there. As I say, I'm going to look to make that transition for Dark. Maybe we bump it up to an hour and a half of a show, and we may even move it away from YouTube and find a broadcaster that would be willing to take it on. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode of AEW Dark. Hope you've enjoyed. See you soon.